The Juju Shortbow, one of the most used weapons next to the Terminator, is one of the best weapons for people that play HyPixel Skyblock dungeons. Yet, within one of the recent changes of the Slayer quest, it unfortunately has gone under a heavy change. This change does not involve any stat changes, however, it does affect the concurrent users that have grinded Void Gloom Slayer themselves, turning its previous required level, being Void Gloom Slayer Level 3, to Slayer Level 5. This changes ever since the 28th of September, and to be quite fair, it sucks for everyone that has grinded Void Gloom to level 3. Now, what are the alternatives? What bows could you potentially use? Should you check out our giveaway we are hosting? Yes you should. How long will it take to kill Void Gloom level 1s to get up to level 5? Why did it change? Is the Archer class ruined for everyone that used to run through HyPixel dungeons? Obviously, there are alternatives. These might not be as pleasant as the Juju bow, however, I guess a bow for archers is better than to change classes yet again, as it can be quite a pain moving from one class that you're used to another class you may have never even played in the first place. The Salt's Rebound is a relatively acceptable bow, causing 450 plus damage as main stat. Unfortunately, however, it cannot be dungeonized, meaning that it will not be as effective whilst being within dungeons. The enchantment Dragon Tracer can neither be applied onto this item. Therefore, however, it does not have a requirement to be used. The Runan's bow is unlocked within the Bone Collection level 9. It will shoot 3 arrows at once. As well, you can dungeonize it using Dungeon Essence. Its stats grant you an additional 160 damage output as well as an additional 50 strength whilst having it within your hand. Possibly one of the cheapest alternatives to your disposal, as it only requires 3 stacks of enchanted bones and 3 stacks of enchanted string to be crafted. The Last Breath is a pretty well go-to for anyone that relies on additional damage outputs, as it grants its user 200 additional damage and 180 additional strength, together with 50 crit damage. However, unfortunately a very luxury variant, as it can cost up to 7 million coins and has the requirement of Dungeon Floor 5 completion. It can also be dungeonized of course, given the fact it's a dungeon reward of Floor 5 when killing Libet 500 times. Using Libet fragments you can also boost its damage output from mentioned 200 up to 210, as well as your strength from 180 up to 190. Not to forget its additional bonus which reduces defense stats of your enemies that it hits. The Death Bow should not be forgotten, one of the possibly best choices for every archer right now. Let's look at it. Right off the bat, it's granting you, the user, plus 100% damage towards undead mobs. This includes zombies, skeletons, and everything else that can be considered dead. It also has a possibility to bounce to other enemies of 50% every time in shot, making it probably the best bow within dungeon. Aside from the additional damage towards undead mobs, it also grants you an additional 300 plus damage output when using it. Therefore, unfortunately, it is also quite dear, as it comes out with a cost of 5 million coins. You can buy it right off this way go. Once you complete floor 6 at least once. Buy it off the auction house, you may find it cheaper, if that is open in the first place. The Boomerang gives you an additional 270 damage, as well as 130 strength output. Obviously, it can also be dungeonized using Wither Essence and merely costs only 2 million coins if we exclude the Spirit Zones. Its only requirement is floor 4 completion. If you got help with your friends, then you should have a relatively easy time receiving access to it. That is for the possible alternatives you have to your disposal. Obviously, this could change at any time, as HyPixel Skyblock is right now turning into its own RPG within all of the recent changes. Now, let's go calculate how many level 1 Void Glooms you'd have to kill to get up to level 5 all by yourself. I will leave a spreadsheet right now on your screen for the levels, Void Gloom kills, as well as the costs that are involved within the Slayers. Spoiler alert, it will not be cheap, so pause the video now and take a closer look on it. To answer the question everyone was possibly seeking for, why was the Juju bow going under a required Ender Slayer change? I don't know. Now, to the last thing, is the Archer class ruined? Possibly not, as obviously HyPixel cannot just apply nerfs on a single class. there are still weapons for you to use if you fulfill a certain requirement. Some have higher, some have less. What you could do with your new bow is possibly take aim and bow that like button. It'll be heavily appreciated. Until the next time.